All right. Sorry about that. We're going to let some folks get back on here. Rumble said I was live. And we are going to find out, let you guys get back on here. We got a couple of you on here now. Don't know why that I did that a couple weeks ago. Rumble says I'm live. I'm on their streaming, their Rumble studios, and but all you guys get is the little Rumble logo. So we're gonna go back through. I don't know how long we were off for, probably a couple minutes. So we're gonna go back to the Harvard deal, and we'll start from there. But I'm just letting you guys jump back in. Deb V, Pixie, Texas Bigfoot. That's frustrating. You just want to get through a show, not have no issues. Sometimes I had the Rumble Studio. You know what it did to me a couple days ago? About a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. Just going live, and then it stops, and I hit refresh, and it said it had logged me out in the middle of a live. Like, how are you gonna log somebody out in the middle of a live? I know X today was being hacked pretty hard. I don't know if they're working on Rumble. Usually when they hit X, they hit Rumble because it's the two free speech platforms that we deal with. And so Jay keeps asking, Jay Lynn, Trina back in the house. Man. So we're gonna definitely start back on the Harvard thing. I don't know if you guys got to see this, but we're gonna start here. This is Kristi Noem's statement on Harvard. Take a listen.
Themselves. They have promoted and allowed violent activity on campus. They have allowed anti-Semitism, participation with CCP and Chinese infiltration and influence on their campus, and they haven't protected their students. So we have given them multiple opportunities to share criminal activity with us, backgrounds on these students, to let us conduct the oversight into this program that is our responsibility, and they have refused to do so. So today I sent them a letter that said they will no longer be allowed to participate in this student exchange visitor program, and that's up to 27% of their enrolled students. So it's significant. Any foreign student that wishes to get an education in this country that is attending Harvard and not participating in this criminal activity, they will have to find another university to go to, because Harvard has chosen instead to not protect their students and to allow this kind of violent and discriminatory action continue.
Again, if you guys, I don't know if did you guys see this last time? So I know if I'm close to in the right spot. This was an ultimate FAFO moment for Harvard. They said, listen, we want to know the people that were protesting, the people that have had disciplinary actions. We want their names. We want to investigate this because it's our federal job to make sure when foreigners come into this country, it is our job to make sure that they're abiding by what we want. It's a privilege. It's not an entitlement. And this is where Democrats have lost their mind. They want, just like with illegal aliens, they want them to have more rights than you. They want these students to have more rights than American citizens on college campuses. And it's just absolutely insane what we are seeing. Let me move on. So, talking about that, let's jump into this. A federal judge in California has issued a nationwide injunction that will block the Trump administration from ending legal status for foreign students attending schools in the U.S. while the underlying case is being litigated. Judge Jeffrey White says the government cannot arrest or imprison any of the named plaintiffs in these cases and similarly situated individuals nationwide pending resolution of these proceedings. So what do we got here? Another judge acting as if he's president after acting like he has executive control. This California judge issuing a nationwide injunction. This is what the Supreme Court just heard on May 15th that they got to make a decision on. Does a district judge get to decide what happens to every state in this country? Every executive order? Do they get authority over every executive order? And that's what we have been seeing time and time again. And let me explain this. Now, you got to understand, Marco Rubio is the Secretary of State. That is his function, is student visas, people traveling into the country. If he wants to revoke someone's visa, no judge can get involved in that. I'm just saying. And it's almost like, again, rogue judges, they need to be held accountable. These judges need to be off the bench. The Democrats are using a judicial coup to slow down President Trump. And it's not going good. It's not going good. Okay, you guys, we covered this morning, but we're just going to show you one more time and now give you some of the statements that were released today. If you guys remember, there was a shooting last night. Pro-terrorist person killed 2 people that were at the Capitol Jewish Museum. And this is what he yelled.
No. Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free!
Now, as I said earlier, this is no different from the Luigi case, where it was absolutely an evil, heartless act. He has been charged now with murder and other crimes, but this part was released today, and I wanted to see this. I wanted you guys to see this. I'm going to put it on the... Now, if you're weak and you can't your stomach can't handle really evil stuff, I mean, this was an execution-style murder, and we're going to talk about it. It says, once Rodriguez walked past the descent and 2 witnesses, he turned to face their backs and brandished a firearm from the area of his waistband. Rodriguez is captured on video extending both his arms in the direction of the decedents and firing several times, as indicated by the muzzle flashes. Once the descendants fell to the ground, Rodriguez is captured on the video advancing closer to the decedents, leaning over with them with his arm extended and firing several more times. As decedent 1 attempted to crawl away from Rodriguez, he followed behind her and fired again. After a brief moment, Rodriguez appeared to reload his firearm. At the same time, decedent 1 sat up. Once he reloaded, Rodriguez fired several times at decedent 1. Yeah, honestly, the death penalty is too good for someone like this. Like I said, let the family members into a jail cell, give them 1 hour. A normal person cannot do this over something political. I'm just going to say that right now. Now, somebody messes with your kids. I get that. The emotions there. Somebody messes with your wife. I mean, it has to be. These people are willing to go to prison for the rest of their lives for a terrorist organization. And these cockroaches we see in New York and on college campuses, they need to be dealt with. And that's what Trump administration is trying to do right now. And guess what? Judges are blocking this. A day after this person went over there to the Capitol Jewish Museum and executed from behind. When these people tried to get up, he reloaded and shot them again. It's very similar to the Luigi. And like I said, there's already people praising this guy. He is now a hero in the jihadist Muslim community. And it is disgusting. Again, I don't know how we can do it. I don't know if there's a legal way to take away citizenship to somebody that got granted citizenship under a Democrat, because there is so many people here in the streets of America that absolutely hate it. They're refugees burning the American flag in the streets, and people say, oh, it's their right to free speech. Well, I have a right to be an orthodontist too. Maybe we just need to rearrange some stuff on them. And that's not the way I want to go about it. But this is disgusting. This is someone's son, someone's daughter. It's just despicable. But again, I wanted to read that to you because this came out this afternoon. Now, I want you to listen to CNN's take on this. Do you think CNN is worried about the Jewish folks? Or how now Prime Minister Netanyahu, Netanyahu came out and said that he has put all his embassies on high alert. This is what the jihadists, this is what the Muslims want. And I want you to listen to this and listen to how they are more worried on the optics of how this looks to the Hamas protesters than they are about the Jewish folks that are being murdered. Listen,
in their mind
you can't
who
make this up.
Really care about what is happening in Gaza. As you go forward, with what you have seen, can you give us any sense, because you said you looked the shooter in the eyes, can you give us any sense of what you saw in him as he was sort of getting help and people were tending to him as if he too was a victim of seeing this?
Yeah, to be clear, I heard about that part because we were in the secure room when he initially walked in. I just saw him screaming and then being handcuffed. But what I saw in his eyes, I mean, I went to Columbia for grad school and I saw the same thing in his eyes as I saw in the eyes of all the protesters at Columbia. Nothing different between him and them.
Nothing different.
But they did not create this horrific shooting. They did not, they didn't shoot.
They gave permission. They gave the permission.
Amen.
And they've called for this. They have called for intifada revolution, which is the same thing he yelled last night.
Do you worry that there will be a conflation, though, of the two, those people who are speaking their mind, who really care about what is happening in Gaza, and those people who are like this person who did this horrific shooting, who intend to do harm?
A conflation. I mean, they are calling for intifada. At Columbia University, they call for intifada.
She tries to worry about the rest of the protesters. Why is this going to make them look bad? What about them? And this guy's on fire. He's like, they're calling for intifada. They are calling for the extermination of Jews and Israel. Think about this.
Constantly. They're not quietly. They're loud. They're loud. You can hear it. They make recordings of themselves. So what's the difference?
Are you afraid?
Yes.
What will
We're
you do
all
about
afraid.
that?
Everyone should be afraid.
What are you doing to try to make yourself feel safer?
Well, okay, you just go on and live your life. I'm a New Yorker. I remember 9/11. You can't let them make you be afraid. You have to go on. You have to live your life. And hopefully your government does things to protect you. Last night, our government failed us.
Jonathan Epstein, I know that they are going forward with this. There is expected to be charges in this case. We will see what happens, but I know you'll be watching, and we'll talk to you again as this goes forward. Thank you so much, and I'm sorry that you had to witness what you did.
I love the fact that he said, what do you see in his eyes? The same thing I seen in the Columbia students. The same thing that was in the eyes of all the people on UCLA campus. The hate, the evil, the death and destruction. Just insane. Just insane. Now, here we go. You ready for the crybaby? The California crybaby himself, Gavin Newsom. Listen to this. Let me back it up. Oh, I might have to refresh it. Let's see.
Didn't care. They want to pollute more. They want to sack your kids and grandkids, steal their future. As kids are choking up, burning up, and heating up because...
As kids are choking up, burning up, and heating up. Listen, this guy acts like he cares about kids. Listen.
Didn't care. They want to pollute more. They want to sack your kids and grandkids, steal their future. As kids are choking up, burning up, and heating up because of climate change, We need to change.
So California is not too happy today, folks. California is not too happy today. Let me change this really quick. I had to turn that volume up high for that one. It wasn't a good audio. So this is Gavin Newsom, and he is slamming the GOP because, once again, he's using our tax dollars to do what? Trump-proof California? Yeah, I know what Trump-proof means too. We don't want Trump to be able to do anything about our high gas prices, our high taxes, our horrible roads, the fact that Gavin Newsom controls the water, Democrats control the water and take it from our farmers. We don't want anything like that to, change. And so today, it's over. The Senate just passed a resolution to stop Newsom's gas car ban. It's now heads to the President Trump's desk. This is a bipartisan national repudiation of the utter insanity Newsom has inflicted on our state. This comes from Kevin Kiley. So we had a gas car ban starting in 2035, right here in California. The tyrant wants to control everything we do. And listen to this. Listen to this idiot.
24th lawsuit against the Trump administration.
So again,
this lawsuit,
24th lawsuit. Check this out. He'll lose this one too, guaranteed. Listen.
24th lawsuit against the Trump administration. This lawsuit comes from the United States Senate today, unlawfully acting to remove California's leadership as it relates to reducing the amount of pollution coming out of tailpipes. That was established, by the way, in 1967 by Ronald Reagan, codified in 1970 by Richard Nixon. Democrats, Republicans working for decades to reduce the amount of pollution coming out of the tailpipes. Today was a huge victory for big oil, huge victory for GM, huge victory for Donald Trump. It was a terrible day for our kids, a terrible day for the health and wealth of our nation.
It's one thing to want to reduce emissions. You get a 1976 car and you get a 2020 car, the emission standards, it's crazy because with all the sensors, your check engine light comes on every 12,000 miles and it's a stupid sensor. But the polluting, again, is down. We have some of the cleanest air in certain parts of the country that we ever had. I live in the valley. Not so good here. You know why? Because the smog that big cities make, LA and those places, they just roll right into the valley and they just sit here. But to say that you have the right to force consumers on what type of vehicle they're going to purchase, I think that's a little tyrannical. And he's going to lose again. He said, it's my 24th lawsuit. 24th lawsuit. Well, guess what? California, even Democrats that I know, were not behind this ban on gas vehicles. And now it was a bipartisan effort. It wasn't just the GOP. It was a bipartisan effort in the Senate because people know that Gavin Newsom is crazy. And you would think with his new found religion of being a moderate, that he would have said, you know what, that's probably a little crazy to dictate what our people can and can't buy. I mean, he's done it. He's done it with our power equipment, our lawnmowers, our weed eaters. I've told you guys plenty of times, if I want to go buy a gas-powered weed eater, I got to drive to Arizona or Nevada. All has to be electric. Even though we don't have the grid to sustain all these cars, even though we still get rolling blackouts in the summer, we'll be seeing it when the temperature is 112 degrees here, just in about 4 to 6 weeks. And that's not 112 degrees because of global warming. That's called weather. That's called summer here in California, if you didn't know. These people are just crazy. Check it out, guys. If you guys didn't know this, we are heading down. Matt and myself are heading down to D.C. In 3 weeks from today. We will be in D.C. So what time is it now in D.C.? 4 o'clock. I will land exactly probably about 3 weeks from right now, maybe about 2 weeks, 6 days, and 23 hours from now. How's that? And it's going to be an awesome, awesome military parade. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on. We'll get into it at the end of the show, but I do want to show you this right here. This is White House Press Secretary. Take a listen.
The president will further honor our military next month on June 14th when he hosts the 250th anniversary of the United States Army with a grand military parade celebration right here in our nation's capital. President Trump will be joined by veterans, active duty troops, Gold Star families, and patriotic Americans from across the country to celebrate our heroes who have kept us safe. Tickets for the parade and the celebration are available through the America 250 Commission's event registration portal. It will be a truly historic and special day for our country. After the parade, President Trump will travel to the G7 Leaders Summit in Canada from June 15th through the 17th.
Ooh, it's starting to get real, folks. It's starting to be real. That is epic. That is epic. And we're going to talk about it a little more. If you guys do want to help out, I'm trying to book the hotel by tomorrow afternoon before the hotel prices get outrageous. They've already gone up probably about 12% from the beginning of the week. We're going to be staying in downtown DC. And so if you guys want to help out, we would appreciate it. You can go to Venmo at Oreo Josh. I haven't even had that thing up here. Man, I hate when the system crashes. You can go to Venmo at Oreo Josh, Cash App, $ Oreo Army, or givesendgo.com/Oreo 2024. It's going to be an epic couple days down there. And we're going to be bringing you a lot of stuff. There'll be, I'm sure the day before, there'll be some anti-American protest, and we'll be on the ground covering that. So want to say thank you to all you guys. We also have, if you do online banking and you want to do a Zelle transfer, our Zelle link is on our website. All you have to do is go to the OreoExpress.com, scroll down our homepage. There'll be a Donate Now button, and it'll have all those links there. So I, again, want to say thank you to everybody who has pitched in. Oh, we got a Venmo right now. Michael, thank you very much, Michael. Thank you very much, Michael. Appreciate you. So we had JH Candy Bar earlier, Michael right now. Let's see. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anybody, and I'll give you guys a reminder before we end the show here. We still got a lot to cover, though. It's already 4:12, too. Hold on. And JH Candy Bar from earlier. So thank you very much. And if you guys do want to contribute, we would appreciate it. We just want to get those behind us. And then after this week, when we get the hotel booked, we'll work on the rental car and the food so we can eat while we're down there. Check this out really quick. Let's talk about this. I thought it was at the end, but we'll talk about it at the end too.
I'm Stephen Turner. I graduated from the Merchant Marine Academy in 1961 and went right into the Navy. And that's when I joined Navy Mutual Aid. It's Navy Mutual. Mutual has a meaning. It's owned by people who understood what it was like to be in the military, working with people of all different backgrounds. You won't find a policy that is more tailored.
Details starting to take shape for that massive military parade scheduled next month in D.C.
The Pentagon and the organizers promising it'll celebrate the military and the Army on its 250th birthday, not President Trump on his. Bob Barnard's along the National Mall tonight with more on what we're learning. Hey, Bob.
Hey there, Jim and Marina. We're told some of the best viewing will be on the grounds of the Washington Monument, of course, here along Constitution Avenue. One of the interesting things is this parade is going to be at night, and the date is Saturday, June 14th. Take a look at a couple of other bits of information about the parade itself. We're told will open at 2 o'clock. The parade's scheduled to start at 6:30 p.m. and end at 9:30. The parade route will be here along Constitution Avenue between 15th and 23rd Streets Northwest, here along the National Mall, we're told President Trump will deliver remarks on what will be his 79th birthday. The president apparently getting the idea for a grand military parade, watching a Bastille Day parade in Paris during his first term in office. The Army says today its total cost will be between $25 and $45 million. But again, that's just from the Army. It'll be a week-long celebration leading up to the parade. The parade itself will include 6,700 active duty soldiers, 28 tanks with refitted rubber treads, we're told, and some metal plating on some roadways to keep the streets from getting chewed up. There'll be many marching bands and 50 helicopters and a B-52 bomber flyover, we're told, with clearance from the FAA. The Golden Knights will be skydiving onto the ellipse and presenting a flag to President Trump. The Pentagon insists this is a celebration of the Army's 250th birthday, not Trump's. Here's what one Army veteran had to say about all this.
A lot of other countries are doing that. And so I think it's a great idea. I don't know that we're the strongest army or military force in the world. Having been a veteran, I know what some other organization, other countries have. So I just pray for peace.
Pray for peace and peace on that Saturday in a few weeks from now. The Pentagon, in announcing some of these details today, said that the Secret Service will be handling the overall security as a national security event, sort of like the inauguration and a Super Bowl. Guys?
Oh, that's going to be crazy. The security's going to be nuts. But we are going to be down there covering it 100%. Oh, man. Hold on. I just killed one because my computer was... Hold on. Let me pull this up. We're getting ready to talk about the report on Make America Healthy Again. Hold on. Let's see. My computer's going a little buzzard right now. It's overheating a little bit. Got all kind of stuff going on. Let's see. Give it a minute. Give it a minute. It's dropping. It's dropping. We should be good. You know what? I don't need that one. Let's just talk about it. Maha report. Make America Healthy Again report, which, RFK Jr. has been doing a lot. They've banned dyes. They've done a whole lot of stuff. Listen to this right here. This is epic.
Wants to prioritize the ultra-processed food crisis and try to reduce our reliance on ultra-processed food and try to...
There we go.
Out the roadmap that RFK Jr. thinks federal agencies can use to reduce chronic childhood illnesses in this country. And the top of the list of problems is a poor diet. This report found that up to 70% of food that most children consume contains ultra-processed ingredients.
I think everybody wants to prioritize the ultra-processed food crisis and try to reduce our reliance on ultra-processed food and try to improve the quality of the food, improve the nutrient density of our food. Little children, as they grow up, require micronutrients in their food for brain growth.
Going through the other main bullet points of this report, chemical exposures are a concern, with the authors ordering a study on pesticides by next year, a lack of physical activity and chronic stress, basically kids playing less outside and more on their screens inside, and then over-medicalization, they say. The authors think kids in this country are being over-prescribed drugs they don't need.
A generational accomplishment of the Trump administration will be reversing the childhood chronic disease crisis. It is common sense that Americans aren't chronically sick at high rates because of an absence of drugs.
This is great. And we got some videos from this roundtable discussion with President Trump. I thought it was great today. But before we do that, let's listen to another bit from RFK Jr. This is what they promised. And they're talking about over medicalization. They're the percentage, and we've went through the percentage of like different age groups, how many of them are on SRIs, how many of them are on different types of antidepressants, how many of them are on drugs like Ritalin. I mean, we know Adderall Princess. We've seen what it does to her. And how, I mean, can't get through a live stream without wishing they had Adderall. And there's other reasons and ways to combat this.
To identify them or looking at chemical. The report is the beginning of a conversation. First time in American history that all of government, the entire cabinet, most of whom participated in drafting this report or commenting on it, all reached a consensus. And the consensus is that we're in the middle of a chronic disease epidemic that is existential for our country. We spend $4.5 trillion a year on our health care. That's 2 to 3 times more than any European country spends. And yet we live 6 years less than they do. This is the first generation of American kids that is going to live shorter lives than their parents. They're going to live less happy lives. They're going to live less healthy lives. We are literally the sickest country in the world. And we know what the causes are. President Trump asked us to identify them. We're looking at chemical exposures, over-processed food, lack of exercise, and other indicators. 100 days or 60 days from now, we will publish a group of policy initiatives to end this epidemic in our country.
I can't say this enough. I voted for this. When MAGA and Maha got together, it was a sweet day in this country. Listen to President Trump while they were going over this. Listen to him to read out some of the stuff. And some of it we've heard before, but this is what they're trying to tackle right here.
Ago, I created the Presidential Commission to Make America Healthy Again, and today the commission officially delivers its first report on childhood health. Here are just some of the alarming findings, and they really are alarming. It's unbelievable, terrible. More than 40% of American children now have at least one chronic health condition. Since the 1970s, rates of childhood cancer have soared in many cases by nearly 50%, 50%. Well, in the 1960s, less than 5% of the children were obese. Now over 20% are obese. A few decades ago, 1 in 1, think of this one. This is, to me, the one that gets me every time, and it seems to be getting worse. Just a few decades ago, 1 in 10,000 children had autism. Today, it's 1 in 31. Last time I heard the number is 1 in 34, right? Now it's 1 in 31. There's something wrong, and we will not stop until we defeat the chronic disease epidemic in America. We're going to get it done. For the first time ever, this report examines some of the root causes that many believe are making our children sicker and our population sicker, I guess. It just doesn't stop with the children. It's our population also, such as the ultra-processed foods, over-medicalization and over-prescription and widespread exposure to potentially toxic chemicals. Unlike other administrations, we will not be silenced or intimidated by the corporate lobbyists or special interests. And I want this group to do what they have to do. We have to spell it out. In some cases, it won't be nice or it won't be pretty, but we have to do it. When you hear 10,000, it was 1 in 10,000, and now it's 1 in 31 for autism. I think that's just a terrible thing. It has to be something on the outside, has to be artificially induced, has to be. And we'll not allow our public health system to be captured by the very industries it's supposed to oversee. So we're demanding the answers. The public is demanding the answers, and that's why we're here.
The public is demanding the answers, and that's why
4 months ago, I created the presidential.
This is what we were promised. I want you to listen to some of the people at this roundtable. Listen to the FDA commissioner on the commission report to make America healthy again. Take a listen to this.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary, and all the cabinet members and principals involved in this amazing MAHA report. For over 20 years at Johns Hopkins, I've been in the middle of the world of sophisticated operations, CAR T therapy, genetic manipulation, immunotherapy, proton beam therapy, and those are amazing. In terms of biochemistry and science, the last 50 years of modern healthcare has been an incredible success. But when it comes to the health of the population, American healthcare has been a 50-year failure.
50-year failure.
We have the most obese, the most insulin resistant, the most depressed, the most disabled, the most medicated population in the history of the world. And we have not been talking about it at our conferences. We don't talk about the root causes when we talk about CAR T therapy. We need both. We have been so busy billing and coding and being measured by our throughput that we have not stopped to put our head up and look around and say, what's going on? 1 in 4 teen girls now are on antidepressant treatment. 1 in 4 teen boys are on ADHD medications. What are we doing? We are watching our population and our children drugged at scale. And we have had an entirely reactionary system until now. I hope this marks an amazing milestone where we move from a purely reactionary system to a proactive system. We've been playing whack-a-mole with chronic diseases. We have been playing whack-a-mole with diseases and losing. Maybe we need to listen to our patients, listen to parents who care for children, listen to the scientists who have been waving a flag for years saying, look at these root causes. Maybe we need to treat more diabetes by talking about school lunch programs, not just Ozempic for 12-year-olds. Maybe we need to talk more about treating high blood pressure with sleep medicine and stress management, not just first-generation antihypertensives, after second, after third generation. Maybe we need to treat more back pain with ice and physical therapy, not just surgery and opioids. Maybe we need to take an entirely new, fresh approach and talk about food as medicine. Maybe we need to talk about environmental exposures and chemicals that cause cancer, not just the chemo to treat it. And
Amen.
This marks this milestone moment for us to change the national conversation. Thank you, Mr. Secretary, and thank you all the members that work for that.
We've covered this time and time again. I'm not against prescriptions for certain things, but I do believe when you look at how they're prescribed here in the United States versus other countries, he said 25% of young teenage girls are on antidepressants, and 25% of boys are on ADHD medicines. Now, maybe they need those ADHD medicines, but what caused the ADHD, right? It would be nice to know so we can prevent it in the future. Check out what RFK Jr. says about President Trump. This is just great. Listen to this.
When it's the right thing to do, and the willing is a populist president. He's a president. He's blamed for giving money to billionaires and all this stuff. We hear about that all the time. But he is on the side of the middle class, the working class, the poor in this country, people. And I've been following, I've met every president since my uncle was president. And I've never seen a president, Democrat or Republican, that is willing to stand up to industry when it's the right thing to do, and they're willing to talk about really difficult issues and to hold his stand on those issues. I've never seen anything like it, and I'm very, very grateful to you. I've sat with industry again and again in a room with him and heard him say, we can't do that. We're going to do something different, deliver news that they didn't want to hear. Oh, I'm grateful to this. This is a milestone. There's never in American history has the federal government taken a position on public health like this. And because of President Trump's leadership, it's not just one cabinet secretary, it's the entire government that is behind this report. And I can say again, I talked a little bit about when I met Rachel Carson as a boy. My uncle tried to do this, but he was killed and it never got done. And ever since then, we've been waiting for a president who would stand up and speak on behalf of the health of the American people and say, there is no difference between good economic policy, good environmental policy, and good public health policy, and good industrial policy. We can have all of them, but we need a united cabinet, and we need to go forward as a single people. I want to thank you for that, President Trump.
Thank you. I watch this, and I sometimes sit here and think, we prayed very hard for Trump to be elected. We knew there would be a lot of obstructionists. We knew it would be 2016 all over again, where they fight every single policy. They try to weaponize the courts and everything. But what we are seeing is truly historic. I can't imagine what if they were able to steal another election, where our country would be over the next 4 years. And again, there's a lot of things Trump wants to do that are being obstructed. But we are getting to that point where it's going to be pretty epic. Take it. This is a little bit longer, but you guys know I love me some Stephen Miller. Like, Stephen Miller is epic. Let's take a listen.
To me, and thank you as well, Lee, for the very kind words. And you're right. I think about this first and foremost through the prism of being a dad of 3 young children. And I'm married to a Maha mom. My wife, Katie, is the one who deserves all the credit for educating me about this issue on the birth of our children. But I first want to just take a moment for us to think about how extraordinary this moment is, that Bobby's sitting there right now, not as a private citizen, not as the leader of a nonprofit, but as the Secretary of Health and Human Services, right, behind government seal, issuing, this is a government report, right? His whole life, Bobby has issued private reports, held private press conferences, engaged in private advocacy. And after generations of all of that work, his life's work now has a government seal on it. Think about how remarkable that is. When I say that I think about these issues primarily as a dad, I was shocked to learn, again, mostly, if not exclusively with my wife's help, on the birth of our children, just how filled our whole world is with toxins, and how bereft a child's world is of all of the natural things that humans have interacted with and encountered since the beginning of humanity. And we're still a natural being. Humans are still natural creatures. It affects your health if a child goes through its formative years, his or her formative years, without access to enough sunlight every day, enough exercise every day, to the microorganisms that exist in the world, in dirt and in trees and in leaves and all of the things that humans have interacted with. Now, a child that grows up in a world where the only things that child consumes are ultra-processed foods, baby food that is filled with sugar and preservatives, where because the toxins are in our environment, even in a mother's breast milk, we find, and it's in this report, right, we find traces of toxic chemicals because of what is in our environment, where that child is exposed from the moment they're born, everything they touch and interact with industrial chemicals, right? They're chemicals in the carpets in our homes, in the treatments in our yards, in our foods, cleaning products. And so you live your whole life from the moment you're I mean, think about any of you who's had a newborn. Think about how gentle and precious a newborn baby is, and the kinds of chemicals that they're exposed to from the day they're born, and what they're not exposed to, that they need to have I think the term is a microbiome, that you need to develop a proper immune system. And then all of these parents, racked with anguish when they find out that their kid has an immune disorder or a lifelong allergy or a lifelong skin disorder. And that may not seem like a very stressful thing until you have a kid yourself. And, so for parents, for example, whose kids have chronic eczema, right? That may not sound, oh, that's a health crisis. It is a crisis for that family. It's a crisis for that family as they search every single day to find that cream or that lotion or that medication that's going to give that child some relief. And it's not normal. It's just fundamentally not normal for children to have any disease at all. Children are to be the healthiest among us. And of course, the most heartbreaking part of it, of course, is the pediatric cancer. There's no other primate in the world where pediatric cancer is commonplace, only in humans. Why is that? Why do humans alone have children who are afflicted with these heartbreaking, life-threatening illnesses? And what's fascinating, and this is something that's not disputed, is that they have vastly lower rates of pediatric cancer in the developing world than the developed world. It is a disease of civilization. And think about that. And they find that when someone moves from the developing world to the developed world, within one generation, so their children, they have the exact same cancer rates as the existing population in the United States or other Western countries. So what is happening in our environment, in our food supply, in our lives, in our medical protocols that is causing us to be so sick? And when I grew up in the 90s mostly, born in the 80s, but mostly grew up in the 90s, it was commonplace, for example, and this is still commonplace, but for every young boy that I knew who was deemed to be too energetic, they were put on Ritalin. Think about that culture that we had and still do as a country, where perfectly healthy young boys, and I knew them, they had no behavioral issues. I never saw them act out in a violent way or disruptive way. But if they were simply too energetic in class, too happy in class, too excited in class, the teacher would call the parent, they would have a parent-teacher conference, and they would put that kid on drugs. And we've had that culture for decades in the society. And then we're surprised we have all this chronic illness, that we're surprised that we have all these chronic health problems as a country. So I could keep going. It's all in this report. But the bottom line here is that what Secretary Kennedy has done under the direction and leadership of President Trump is, for the first time in American history, the full power and authority of the federal government is being used to identify and solve the chronic disease epidemic and not to cover it up. So thank you very much. An honor to serve with you. How much?
That was just epic. That was just epic. And I love where we're going here. As a government, they're taking this serious. They're front and center with it. They haven't pushed it off. And again, we've talked about this. We've talked about the states, West Virginia and the other states that have done this. Take a listen to this. This is great news.
The second thing is that you mentioned, sir, in your remarks that we are on track to sign multiples of SNAP waivers to get junk food and sugary drinks out of our food stamp system. And I am so proud. I am so proud to announce that on Monday, I was in Nebraska with Governor Pillen, where we signed the first one. An hour ago, I signed the second one for Governor Braun in Indiana. He may not even know that. I've got it right here, sir. I also signed the third one, Governor Kim Reynolds of Iowa, about an hour ago. With a half a dozen more coming down the line. And sir, that has never happened before. Under Republican or Democrat administrations, we have never made that happen before. So I am so proud and so grateful for your leadership.
Morrissey here, who was the first one to apply from West Virginia.
Oh, Governor Morrissey. We will make sure you're at the top of the pile, sir. I apologize. Governor Sanders has been a leader. Governor Polis from Colorado. It has been remarkable how these governors have stood up. That's
it's a good thing. It's a good thing. I just love the fact that they're doing this. And listen to this. Make America Healthy Again. Just listen
More than
to this really
40%
quick.
of American children now have at least one chronic health condition.
That's
Since
not
the
the one I
19...
wanted. But when it was all said and done, President Trump said, we're not going to stop until we defeat the chronic disease epidemic in America. And it is true, guys. It is true. And, you know, there's some major things going out. Yesterday, I don't even know if we had a chance to cover it. But yesterday, the FDA orders Pfizer and Moderna to update the mRNA vaccine warnings, adding heart injury risk and mainly in teen boys and younger men. We've seen a lot of side effects from people we actually know, 18 to 22 years old with myocarditis or another issue with their heart. They also said they're not going to approve any treatment for younger healthy people. No vaccines for younger healthy people for those COVID vaccines. And it's just great. But listen to this. Gavin Newsom was still crying today. And I want you to listen to this and see how they're spinning this. You actually have a commission that wants to make America healthy again. And Gavin Newsom wants you to believe that they want to make kids sicker because they're allowing you to buy gas cars again in California. Take a listen. You can't make this stuff up.
Fires and other climate-fueled disasters are costing us in California alone more than $16 billion per year. Many of our counterparts across the globe are experiencing similar impacts. And our solution is to approach these serious challenges, tens of billions in health costs, and reduces the rates of chronic illness and hospital visits by the thousands each year.
Listen to that. They're reducing chronic illness by forcing you to get an electric car. Can you believe that? This is propaganda.
The innovative solutions incorporated into our vehicle standards do not only help us as Californians, again, they help the nation to combat one of the most critical challenges of our time. As you'll hear about more from the coming speakers, we will fight this illegal attempt to overturn California's waivers and challenge our authority under the Clean Air Act. The health of our children, our most vulnerable, all of us is at risk. We pay the price in the form of asthma rates, missed school and work days, and shortened lives. California will continue to lead with science, with integrity, and with urgency, as this moment demands. To speak more to this, I will now introduce Dr. John Baums, longtime.
So when Trump's up there and he's got doctors and
fires and other
professionals
climate-fueled
and
disasters
people
are
that have been
costing us.
screaming from the rooftop, we keep doing the same thing and it's not working. We don't just need to medicate. We need to solve the problem, get to the root cause. And here you have the tyrannical Democrats here in California saying that it's caused by Trump's team. Listen to this too. Just to give you an idea of Gavin Newsom, we talk about how there's contracts in California and with governors, just like USAID, there's certain groups that are picked out, far left groups that are picked out and get these contracts. This one is a hate crime hotline in California that cost us taxpayers $2.4 million. Guess how much that is per call? Well, you're going to find out right here. Mikey Ray says, my pillow for the trip. Mikey Ray, thank you so much to donating. Appreciate you, Mikey Ray. Thank you for being a part of the Oreo Army and helping us get this hotel room for DC. And so we can bring that to you. Thank you, Mikey Ray. Take a listen to this.
Help those particular individuals. So this is the California versus Hate hotline that Governor Gavin Newsom announced 2 years ago. Correct. Saying that we had this scourge of wave of hate crimes, and he was going to set up a phone help desk people can call. How many? Well, first, the contractor is still 211 LA, correct? Correct. So this is an advocacy group. They're not a government agency. That they are a 501c3 advocacy group that you have hired under a no-bid contract 2 years ago to start this. How many convictions for hate crimes have been generated off of this hotline in the past 2 years that it's been in operation?
So we've had thousands of incoming phone calls and over 100 formal reports of hate crime in the first year. Several of those have been referred to the Civil Rights Department as discriminatory litigations that we're currently involved in to help those particular individuals out.
How many convictions? It's been 2 years. So I'm sure a prosecutor, if they got a report of a hate crime, they would, let's say, they would make a charge. So how many people have been charged with a hate crime based upon complaints received through the hotline in the last 2 years?
There have been 2 that have come to conclusion.
What is conclusion? Were they prosecuted? Were the individuals prosecuted?
The individuals that reported the discriminatory actions filed an intake form with the Civil Rights Department, and the action was settled with a settlement to the individual who complained about. The particular case that I'm speaking of was an individual who had discriminatory employment practices, and that case came to conclusion.
Wait. Hold on a second. This is a hate crime hotline. You say that no one has been criminally prosecuted. Is that what you're saying? Let's be very clear with the taxpayers. There's not one example you can give me of someone being prosecuted for a criminal act of hate.
So 211 LA is works with community-based organizations.
No, I know.
To deploy services, and some of the examples are eviction prevention.
I understand. Let's not go down that road.
Assistance.
I asked a very specific question. The answer is no one has been criminally charged with a hate crime from this hotline in the last 2 years. Is that correct? Let's be very clear. It's a very clear question. It's a simple yes or no answer.
No.
Thank you. So you have someone who you have 2 completions over 2 years for the same person. Is that correct?
No.
But 2 completions for 2 different people regarding workplace discrimination. Do we not have other state agencies that handle discriminatory employment practices? I think we have an entire department, labor department, deals with that, correct?
So there's the labor department for like wages.
Correct.
And then there's discriminatory
but we have other government agencies that deal with that. Okay.
Yes.
So we've got 2 goals across 2 scores on the scoreboard here. How many calls or emails, contacts, you call them contacts under your contract, and the governor issued a nice fancy press release a year ago talking about the number of contacts. How many contacts did this contract generate last year?
There were over 1,000.
2,118, actually. I'm going to give you the actual numbers.
Thank you.
The contract is $2.4 million, right, to this vendor, LA 211?
Correct.
$2.4 million. Are there any additional state staff members that are applied to this program, this California versus Hate, or is this basically the program all in, the $2.4 million vendor contract?
The hotline is the vendor, and then we have 2, an SSA and an AGPA within CRD that support the program also.
So 2 state employees with fringe benefits. So we're talking about, maybe $3 million, maybe $3.1 million when you add in the state staff members plus the vendor.
$287,000.
Okay, so maybe about $3 million. But let's just talk about $2.4 million. For every email or phone call, this contract, this no-bid contract with a left-wing advocacy group, costs $1,133.14. I will take that contract. I will handle the $2,118 out of my office, and I'll return the saving. I'll give them to the chairwoman. She can get $1 million for her department, and I'll get $1 million for mine. Okay. And by the way, that's an average contact rate of 5.8 emails or phone calls a day. Oh, but how many of these were hate-related inquiries? Because a lot of them were prank calls. There were 1,020 confirmed hate-related or discriminatory-related complaints. That's 1,020 divided by the contract, $2,352.94 to handle those. How many were referred to a service? Usually, your help desk says, you're a victim of hate crime, or what, you may actually have a problem with hate in your life, and here's a group that you can talk to. Only 4 out of 6 who contacted who were hate-related. That's 680 people. That's $3,529.41 per person referred to another agency. And again, you only have 2 where an actual complaint was adjudicated, not in a criminal standpoint, but presumably in a civil standpoint. I don't think this is an issue of needing to put this contract out for bid, because this is grift unlike I've ever seen before. This is a program that I don't think we can afford in the middle of a budget crisis. This is $2.4 million plus the 2 government staffers. That's almost $3 million that I think we should be allocating to other programs.
Is that not crazy? When we talk about NGO, these leftist organizations, Democrats padding the pockets of these leftist organizations, $3,329.31 per call. This is insane. And we wonder why California is on the verge of collapse. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. Let's see if we got anything else, or if we're gonna. I don't need to do that. I can do that in the morning, and I think we're good. Yes, we are good. Let me refresh this. Maybe we got it. No. All right, guys. So just a reminder, we shared with you guys some of the events that are going on in 3 weeks. Over in DC, me and Matt, I'm flying out from California to DC. We got our plane ticket. We are only working on the hotel room this week. Hopefully, we want to get, I want to get the hotel room reserved by tomorrow. And so we are probably right now about 5:10 away, 5:10 or 5:20 away right now. So if you guys want to help out, we are 100% viewer funded. We appreciate your support. We can get that taken care of. If you guys want to donate to the Oreo Express for that hotel, you can go to Venmo at Oreo Josh, Cash App, $Oreo Army. And we also have givesendgo.com/Oreo 2024. And as always, if you do online banking, we have a Zelle link on our website. It's theoreoexpress.com, and you can go down. There's a donate now button. We appreciate your support. Renee says, I'll do a Cash App when the stream ends. Thank you so much, Renee. Thank you guys for helping out. And again, we will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday already. I think we're going to try to do 2 streams tomorrow. Usually we only do a morning stream on Fridays, but I think you'll get 2 out of us. There might be a lot to cover, and we got some other stuff going on. Still looking at the weekend to see what we're going to cover. We will see you soon. God bless, and thank you guys once again for tuning in. If you can, on your way out, hit that like button, guys. Hit that like button, and we will see you soon.
I hear every day about the products you all wish MyPillow carried. Well, guess what? We probably do. Slippers, bathrobes, pet beds, blankets, mattresses, sleepwear, loungewear, duvets, comforters, pot holders, aprons, oven mitts, and so much more. And they're all on sale. For example, get our best-selling standard MyPillows for only $14.98. Body pillows, $29.98. 6-piece bath towels or kitchen towel sets, just $29.98. Multi-use MyPillow 2.0s with pillowcase, $9.98. Save $40 on our Spring Percale and Giza Dream bedsheet sets. Any size, any color, and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save up to 80% on all MyPillow products. And I've never done this before. When you spend $100 or more, you're going to get 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free.
Well, hop aboard the Oreo Express, where truth don't hide and we don't second guess. Unapologetic, we're bold and we're loud, shining light on the left shady crowd. Oreo Express, rolling down the track, exposing the lies, ain't no turning back. Conservative fire, we're speaking the truth. At Oreo Express, this one's for you. and the heart of this land. Oreo Express. Let's roll, let's go. So grab your boots, let's take a stand for freedom, faith, and the heart of this land. Oreo Express, let's roll.